Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto manga review. This one's going to be for chapter 71, which is called Hindrance. Interesting chapter. I like that there are moments in this manga that can sort of surprise me because the direction feels a little bit unclear. I don't know exactly where they're going. A lot of series can definitely feel like you know where they're going to go, there'll be a few little bits and pieces along the way, but you ultimately know where they're heading. In this case, we know long-term, like post-time skip, where we're heading. Well, how we get there, it feels like, could happen in a variety of ways. This chapter did not go the way I expected it to go. I felt we were going to do the kind of relatively obvious thing of, you know, Sasuke and everyone would organize and head out to Code's base for like an Amado rescue mission, and that's where like a big fight would take place. They actually seem to do things in a way where like kind of the reverse happens of like they have a lot happen in the base, the villains kind of like break up, and some of them are heading back to Konoha to go ahead with the deal and basically join Konoha, and Code's actually out on his own, and it's like, what? And then, yeah, completely shifting things when it comes to, like, say, Code's power-up of, like, this is the big one. No one will be able to stand up to Code when he gets his limiter removed. He gets the limiter removed, and boom, he gets smashed, like, immediately. But it's not that necessarily Code is just terrible. It's that we had sort of been sleeping a little bit on Daemon. He has a really cool power, but it maybe felt a little one note, and can he do anything else except the reflection power? But actually, it's the manga committing to the idea that Daemon is actually the most powerful character in the series at this point. Which is fascinating, unexpected, but okay, let's go with it. So, again, I both like that I don't know where it's going, but also feel like there's an element of the pacing of this manga is relatively slow, and I'm not exactly sure that the writers necessarily even know exactly what direction that they want to head in. So I liked it, but it's a bit frustrating still, because like it's another chapter that teases Amado will finally reveal his plan, but no, we're going to have to wait. And especially, like, I was feeling a little bit kind of better about this when I thought, like, oh, well, we don't have to wait until next month for the next chapter. But actually, no chapter in July. They're going on break until August, which for a monthly manga just seems like crazy to me. Slow things down even further, right as they hit a point where things were building up again. So, weird choice, but I guess they have to have a break every so often. So let's get into going through this sort of page by page. This one's a little bit more packed. I don't think it's one of those chapters where like half of it feels like it's absolutely pointless, but we can definitely skip through some of the scenes somewhat quickly. So the resolution on the cliffhanger, how does Amado get himself out of being killed straight away? He talks to Eida and wants to talk to her about Kawaki, because she's actually in control of the situation. Because effectively Eida and Daemon have these wild, like, magic powers almost that are crazy even compared to Code's now really, really high typical power level. Eida is actually in control of this scene, so Amado plays it well here by bringing up that, and Kawaki as the thing that will get her to talk. So she wants to know, what's this about? And this is what's slowly revealed over the course of this chapter. Kawaki gradually revealing more details about why did I do what I did to Kawaki, and more about the reason of why I did it. Kawaki's the ace up my sleeve in case Konoha ever tries to abandon me, or if they decide to eliminate me. So we then get this situation back and forth where Eida wants to hear what Amado has to say, but Code keeps interrupting. He's kind of like, I have my power back, I'm in charge, I want to kill Amado, let me kill him. But she's kind of like, don't interrupt. Did you not hear me? Don't interfere. And eventually she's just like, Daemon, go for it. So as Code tries to take out Amado, Daemon grabs him, we get another small reflection scene. So Code gets kind of a cut on his own forehead by his own attack, but it's not too bad because I suppose he holds back on it. It, I suppose, is meant to reveal that the intent to kill is reflected before an attack even fully hits. So it's not just that it's pure attack direction, but it's as you're charging towards someone, planning to do something, he can reflect that back. It is very much that intent that is the key thing that he can actually reflect. So Code backs away from Daemon at this point, and there's a little bit of a discussion here, but she again reiterates what she said before. If you end up being a hindrance to us, I'll have to dispose of you. And so Code's like, me, a hindrance? What's going on here? But Amado gets to speak again and finally says, do you still don't understand, Code? Eida's got an invitation from Konoha now. She has an opportunity to get close to Kawaki. You're the one actually getting in the way of her and her chance with Kawaki. You're a hindrance, not anyone else. And he tries again to sort of attack Amado, but he just says that he's stating the truth. So Daemon again reflects Code. And obviously in this case, he reflects the charge towards Amado, which isn't fully an attack, but it sends Code flying backwards. So what he reflected was the sort of, run towards, which is kind of interesting. So Daemon speaks up here and says, if Big Sis says don't, then stop doing it. Idiots who can't understand such simple things need to be disposed of. You getting this, Code? So Daemon stepping into the spotlight a little bit here, which is kind of the focus of this chapter in terms of a main takeaway. We get a quick scene with Shikamaru, Boruto, Sasuke, Naruto, and Kawaki in the room where we left it from last time out. Basically, Shikamaru brings them up to speed on what he knows about Eida and her powers, and also Daemon and his powers. But of course, he doesn't know Daemon's name, because Daemon was only minorly involved in the incident from before. And this is just getting across that they are aware that these are the cyborgs that were mentioned previously that Amado made that are more powerful than Jigen. Note in bold there is the word several, who greatly surpassed Jigen's power. So I'm not sure if that's just alluding to the gradual reveal here that Daemon is way more powerful than we thought he was, or if they're teasing even more cyborgs, but interesting. So that's mostly a recap there. There's nothing too fancy there other than that, like, okay, most of the main characters are now brought up to speed on Eida and Daemon. So back to the scene with Daemon and Code. Code wants Eida to sort of make Daemon stand down, but she makes up her mind at this point. I'm grateful to you, Code, I am, for freeing me. That's why I helped you regain your power, but let's call it a day now. It's time to end this. So she's breaking up their agreement here, their alliance, and it reveals, which I think is quite important, why she even went as far as she did after getting the deal offer from Shikamaru. So she felt she needed to help Code in some way, because the only reason she's free from the stasis pod thing is because of Code. So in her mind, this is that exchange. You've freed me, I got your powers back, we're done. I'm not going to feel any loyalty to you anymore because you are annoying me so much with your attitude. We're done. I don't feel that I need you as powerful as you are, because Shikamaru with the offer is giving her everything that she wants, because her motivation for a character so powerful, it's kind of funny in the series that her motivation is so simple, but this actually fits a character with that motivation. So Code's like, you're kidding, right? I love you, Eida, from the bottom of my heart. Don't you still need my power? No thanks. I don't care for your self-serving attitude. Whether your feelings are real or not, I've had enough. Code then is kind of like, okay, so you don't need 2 knights. You only need 1. That one is going to be me. So he basically sets up the idea of, I'll fight Daemon to decide who will be the one by your side to protect you. So the fight is about to begin, and Bug out of nowhere steps in and is kind of like, Code, his palms, be aware of Demon's palms. It's only when he's touching others with his hands that actions get reflected. So he's actually giving Code a bit of advice about how to handle what seems like an impossible to get around ability. So there is a restriction on it, and actually a rather big restriction, which highlights, I suppose, how skilled Daemon is otherwise, that he's always able to pretty much make this ability happen. In that already, I suppose we've seen this sense of like, when someone attacks and he's not even anywhere near them, he just sort of like appears on that person and can do the reflection. So, I like the subtle reveal of Daemon's talents before we even properly learn about it. Bug's motivation in all of this is basically just that he just wants them to like destroy each other, because he's getting tired of dealing with all these cyborgs. The attack comes in, and it feels like, okay, Code knows what not to do. So with his insane power, he should just be able to outspeed Daemon head on and get an attack in by making sure Daemon doesn't touch him. But then we get the reveal that, oh, Daemon's incredibly fast. He just straight up dodges Code's attack, and then with Daemon's own strength, not an attack reflection, he just pummels Code into the ground here, jumps up again and does it again. And Code is like out. This is a full-on like beating, that like a full-on, I am more powerful than you are helpless here, I could end you if I wanted to in this situation. Code escapes this initial kind of pounding here and attacks from above, and Daemon just executes like a spin kick and again slams him into the wall. So it's a full-on like, Daemon has the full and complete advantage over Code, no question whatsoever. So Daemon says, you do seem stronger than Jigen, so neither Hokage nor Uchiha should be trouble, but that's all. Who's second or third doesn't matter to number one, me. So this is, in Daemon's mind, him revealing he's actually the most powerful character in the series. You'd probably include Eida in there, but she is a non-combatant. She doesn't use her powers to fight as such. So in terms of the characters who do fight, I suppose this is Daemon kind of telling us he's number one. He roughly, I guess, feels that Code is number two. Kawaki's probably there and thereabouts as number three. And then it's Naruto and Sasuke. So an interesting view on things, that, okay, even if you can get around Daemon's ability, he still is just an amazing fighter by default. So very, very intriguing stuff here. So Code makes his mind up that he's going to retreat. As he does this, Eida just says, it's fine, I won't chase after you, just don't get in my way. I can see everything you're going to do with my ability, so I'll kill you if warranted. Code reiterates his mission, which I do like. I've got a mission to cultivate a divine tree and obtain its chakra fruit, as per the Otsutsuki will Ishiki bequeathed to me. I'll devour it and become a new Otsutsuki. So I like that they're telling us this again, that this isn't just some forgotten plot point. This is, in fact, his overall goal. There's a panel with Amado hearing this, no real reaction, but he's going to find that quite interesting. And then Eida is kind of like, oh, good luck then. So she's very nonplussed about this whole thing. Once I'm an Otsutsuki, your ability won't affect me. That's when I'll finally know my true feelings towards you, whether I want to love you or want to kill you. And this is an interesting one, because I'd probably latch onto this scene if Code was a more interesting character than he has been presented as up to now. If I felt that the actual romance or chemistry between Code and Eida was anything of substance, that line I think might actually have some interest to me. But because Eida just doesn't seem to care for him at all whatsoever, whether or not his feelings are true or not, it doesn't really matter. Now, maybe her mind will change, which if he does become an Otsutsuki and suddenly the potential of his true feelings actually means something. But it does seem like he has annoyed her enough that she's just not interested at this point. So this feels like, at least for me, the whole romance aspect of this I'm not really reading into. So once he becomes an Otsutsuki, he will just want to take her out for this sort of quote-unquote betrayal. So he leaves at this point. Daemon does try to get him, but he's not quite quick enough because Code's already like half in the claw mark already. This leaves Amado, Eida, and Daemon in the scene. So she just notes how, you're devious, like you effortlessly managed to get yourself out of that situation, as well as basically causing the separation of Eida and Code. So she's giving Amado a lot of credit for what he was able to do in all of this. So that's quite interesting. Eida basically just notes that a lot of her motivation in this is that she wants to hear the rest of Amado's story. But if it does turn out to be a bluff, she has no qualms in killing him. So, here it is. He says, Kawaki's the ace of my sleeve. That's not a bluff. It's the truth. Kawaki has regained karma and simultaneously inherited Ishiki's abilities. His power is likely to keep growing. And as of right now, there is no one in Konoha who can oppose Kawaki's power, including the Hokage, except for me. And Eida's like, oh, you've implanted something else inside Kawaki, haven't you? And he's like, yes, a unique emergency shutdown command code that only I can use. And he then goes on to effectively explain this situation, that in his mind, this is the situation. Kawaki is the most powerful character in Konoha, but also he's the most powerful character among the powers of the world, the ninja villages. And they're all concerned about Kawaki. So they're all worried that if he does go out of control, no one's powerful enough to actually take him on. So Amado, by giving Kawaki that power, but also at the same time having this shut-off command in him, immediately creates a perfect position for Amado. Amado is always going to be important. There's never a way the villages will be ever able to get rid of Amado because they need him just in case something goes wrong with Kawaki. So he's created like the perfect situation for himself where he's got to keep himself safe, which has been one aspect of his character up to now, is just that sense of self-preservation. So this is good. So fantastic. But then Eida asks, why didn't you put this in Kawaki before? Why is this only a new thing when you secretly put the karma back in him? And it's obviously that Jigen did not want a shutdown code in his precious vessel. So that makes, I think, complete logical sense in my mind. It is noted here that Eida is confident that Daemon could handle Kawaki's power if it came to a fight. But here's the other point to this. There's more of a story from Amado's perspective. But the shutdown function is not just insurance to protect my standing in the village. My real objective is different, and Kawaki's karma is necessary to achieve it. You haven't answered my question, spill it or I'll kill you. I'll talk, but it's a long story, something that I need to tell Konoha as well. Can you wait until we get there? And he just goes on to say, you should accept Shikamaru's offer. It's the main way you're going to be able to build a relationship with Kawaki, so you should move to Konoha. And she gets bashful again, which is always a fun dynamic for, again, one of the more powerful characters in the series. Amado will mediate because they're going to have to tell Konoha all about Daemon's powers as well as hers. Shall we head out to Konoha village then? So this is where this side of the story comes to an end, is that Amado has managed to talk his way into a position where he's basically like, we all agree the best action for you to take is to come with me back to Konoha and agree to Shikamaru's deal to basically, for the most part, create an alliance with Konoha. You will be allowed to talk to Kawaki and see where things go. which is exactly what she wants. And because the character has such simple motivations, this makes complete sense. But the key point and the most interesting thing in the entire series to me is, what is Amado's overall goal? What does he need Kawaki's karma for? And what is necessary? What is that being in existence necessary to achieve? Still don't really know. And again, this might relate to the whole thing with his daughter, how he has such high technology. Because again, the thing that always baffles me when it comes to talking about these characters with these crazy abilities is that Amado's the reason they have these abilities. So Demon's wild reflection ability, Amado gave that to him. Eida's clairvoyance and her kind of attraction ability, it's him. So who is he? And all these sort of questions. I felt that to some extent maybe the chakra fruit is also his goal. And there was a panel, but I don't think it was a significant panel. So I think he's just noting that, like, okay, that's what Code wants to do. It's not necessarily that, like, they're competing over that. So that might not be correct, but I'm fascinated by it. This is the thing I'm most excited for. This long story that Amado is going to tell to everyone once they get back to Konoha, and I suppose all sit down to listen to him. That's what I want. I want to see that backstory. And it's something we haven't really seen a lot of in Boruto, which was obviously a big thing in Naruto, was at times will tell a full backstory. And I think Amado, so far in the series, is the character who's like, yeah, I really, really want to see what this is about. So, last scene, Code has obviously transported himself and Bug into the desert and just says, I saw it as rescuing you. And Bug's just more like, why'd you keep like dragging me into these things? I didn't want to be involved. And he just gets really angry here over the last two pages and just says it's Kawaki's fault, all of it from beginning to end. I never cared for him from the get-go. How'd he end up as the legitimate vessel? It could have been me. Eida too, he's taken everything from me every single time. He always takes what's important to me. I'm going to kill him. I swear I'll wreck everything, every single thing that's precious to him, the Hokage, his friends, and Konoha village too. So, after this chapter, which has beaten down Code, physically and his reputation, I suppose, both within the series and to readers, you're ending on the note of he gets very, very angry, and it seems like he's going to want to go ahead with his vengeance. Now, I'm a little concerned that please don't have Code attacking the village be the thing that interrupts us getting the Amado backstory. It's been delayed like 2 or 3 times now. I just really want to hear it. I think this makes sense ultimately in terms of a angry Code attacks the village. This way the village is at risk when Code attacks. Instead of them having to go to his hideout, he's going to come to them. I guess he's temporarily putting aside the overall plan to go straight for the chakra fruit and wants his vengeance straight away. And I think the main thing that this accomplishes is that because he's not working with Eida anymore, he feels he's now okay to kill Kawaki. Whereas he actually had to hold back on what is revealed, of course, here, and we've roughly got the sense from before. Kawaki is the character who he, I suppose, in a way has the most reason to hate, because he was the original vessel. In a way, he feels that Ishiki would have preferred things have went in the Kawaki direction, despite how loyal he is and so on. But it's interesting what has happened here. So I don't really know, because like he's still going to need Boruto. Boruto's the only one who I think is a valid candidate to. I suppose it can be Kawaki now. That actually changes things as well. But the problem is, we know in the scene in the future, Kawaki and Boruto are still alive, so no one can be fed to the divine tree, because of course it can't be Code, because he only becomes an Otsutsuki if he eats the divine fruit. So, the chakra fruit. I'm not sure about that plot point and how exactly it's going to happen. I still have a feeling Code could just end up being like, he's a notable villain, but he's not going to be one of the main villains. That he'll do stuff that facilitates stuff to happen with like other characters. In terms of Kawaki having to make a big move, because, you know, Kawaki will be driven in the fight to, yeah, I suppose, take out Code because he's an enemy, but mainly, I suppose, to protect Naruto in whatever situation comes about. So that's the main thing that kind of like I'm thinking of, is that who's the most important person in the world to Kawaki? It is Naruto. So how could Code hurt Kawaki the most is by going specifically after Naruto. Now, it's obviously very against the odds for Code because he's going up against, at the very least, Kawaki, Naruto, Boruto, and Sasuke. But if the timing on things works out, he could also be going up against Eida and Daemon as well, unless they just decide to not, whatever deal they come up with, that like they're there in the village but they're not allied with the village. Will be interesting to see what they exactly do with that. So they're my initial thoughts on the chapter. An intriguing chapter. I hesitate to say it's like really, really good, but I think there's some good elements of like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen, that are quite good. And then there's another sense from like, okay, I still feel you're sort of stretching things out needlessly, but it was better on a page-to-page basis than some of the recent chapters. So I'll definitely give the chapter that. So in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. Where do you think things are going? But that's been it. Thanks for watching, and bye.